Would you look at that? Noctilus on his Necrofex. When's the last time we featured this on this channel? It's been quite some time since old Niklaus brought his Transformer out to the battlefield. Yeah, the Necrofex Colossus is a unit that exists in the game. It potentially can do some interesting stuff. I don't know. Yeah, I guess we'll see the performance here. Like, in theory, it has a scatter shot, which should, you know, do a better job of scattering since that change they did a while ago, where missiles, in theory, should, like, travel down the line a little bit better. Let's see its performance throughout the game here. Right now, it looks a little bit lackluster on its accuracy. But, that being said, we've got yeah, this one's from Calamity. Niklaus on his Necrofex. We've got front line of deckhands here, Prometheans, bombers, and some handguns as the back line. The true back line is the mortars being defended by animated hulks. So a nice kind of wide and gun-heavy build for the Vampire Coast. For Bretonnia, we've got plenty of infantry, men-at-arms with shields. We've got peasant mobs as well, Knights of the Realm out on the flanks, some peasant bowmen, Lore of Life Damsel, Grail Relic. Yeah, plenty of men-at-arms, polearms. So it's a pretty build. A build of our time, as they say. Lewin immediately going to charge in, interrupt some of the bombers so they can't just nuke his entire front line. But the bombers, I don't think, are they even technically in range to shoot this frontline engagement? I mean, it looks like they're barely within max range, but I don't think technically they actually are. I think the bombers' max range is maybe a little bit fraudulent, but we'll see. Deckhands clashing with men-at-arms. So far, the mortars have been doing really nice work in messing up these archers. All three archers have suffered pretty badly here. Knights of the Realm also get intercepted by the Prometheans on the flank. Another unit does get through, though, and shuts down one bomber. No problem. The handguns also turning to shoot whatever priority targets come into view. Right now, that's going to be Lewin. He is going to be forced back probably by these guns a little bit here, but Knights of the Realm just overrunning into the second line, smashing through tons and tons of zombies. The animated hulk's a little bit slow to respond. Right now, still trying to defend the mortars as there's plenty more knights hanging around. Knights of the Lion-Hearted somehow already took a massive amount of damage. Yeah, let's keep a nice wide view so we can see everything that's going on. Bombers are getting some volleys off in the front, but largely didn't get to use much of their ammunition. Meanwhile, yeah, handguns facing some crumbling issues, but got some Melkos mystifying miasma and animated hulks trying to rally here and get back into it. This is a, yeah, bad engagement for the black spots. Super efficient engagement for the peasant mob, actually, to be fighting this zombie bayonet gun unit. They have pretty poor melee stats, so they really don't want to be fighting peasant mobs in melee as much as possible, but they'll get an invocation of the heck as they try and run away there. Yeah, Lewin also doing a really nice job crumping the center. Yeah, the bounce power says it's in the coast's favor, which I find that a little bit hard to believe. I mean, I guess maybe, yeah, something just did a bunch of damage to those Knights of the Realm. I guess Necrofex here, lining up some cannon shots. Let's see, up close. As the animations are painfully slow. It does get a shot in there, though. It does some damage to the Knights of the Realm. Black Spot are going to turn and shoot here. Yeah, like I said, they've got bayonets, which means they've got an anti-large bonus and charge defense. So they've got a respectable 30-plus melee attack against large. Can get some hits on something like Knights of the Realm. Yeah, especially with Noctilus standing nearby. They've got animated hulks as well. So Vampire Coast starting to form a little defensive pocket there. One mortar also still online. Super clutch at this point as Lewin gets bogged down in animated hulks. Handguns managed to survive all that onslaught as well, just through sheer volume of HP. So they're going to hopefully get into a position to keep shooting here. But over on this far side, yeah, it's a great situation for Bretonnia, getting these men-at-arms polearms in here to fight the animated hulks. Should be able to take them down. Rotting Prometheans also, not the most efficient engagement for them, but holding off those knights. Yeah, Noctilus on his Necrofex. Gets a good hit on those men-at-arms polearms, manages to push them back. It's up to 115 kills, 1,400 damage value, so on his way at least to paying for himself. Even if he has used like half of his ammunition already. But yeah, I'm surprised somehow this mortar, like the mortar of the gods here, is still online. And Lion Shield being used to resist some of the handgun fire there of these zombies. As Lewin detaches to make sure the guns can't keep shooting him. Nice big swipe there. Slaps a bunch of zombies down. And more mortar shots. At this point, the mortar is basically chasing routing units. It's being used to, like, blast these very tattered units that are trying to come back, blasting their leadership repeatedly so that they shatter. So, yeah, you know, have you ever used a mortar to chase routing units? I actually think that's something that I probably have done in the past in certain matchups, but it's proven to be very effective here. We see the bombardment also from Noctilus coming in, help thin out some of those peasant infantry. And things are pretty well in the coast's favor at this point, but Lewin's still on the field, so a force to be reckoned with. Yeah, this is a good replay to showcase, though, why sort of a traditional kind of basic Bretonnian army can often struggle against Vampire Coast. This is even without, like, cannons or anything, but even something with, like, mass archers would probably still struggle to the borders. And honestly, I mean, we'll talk more about what Bretonnia could potentially do against a build like this, but that's definitely a tough situation, potentially. But Lewin fighting in melee. He's going to make his final stand. Got Hulks collapsing, and the Necro effects moving into combat as well. Anchors and cannons, wet tentacles slapping him. Absolutely nasty. Oof, the one hero Men-at-Arms might actually get through and shut down this halberd, though, with all of Noctilus forces defending here. Oh, yeah, the hero Men-at-Arms actually do manage to finally shut down this mortar, which has probably gotten a few hundred kills. Yeah, 116 kills, 650 value, so it just paid for itself there. This one also basically pays for itself here before getting charged there by the Knights of Lionheart, and a couple of the crew go absolutely flying. Lewin manages to rally some forces together here, get a little bit of a push going. He's got the Grail Relic also supporting this one Men-at-Arms, juicing up their melee attack and helping make sure their leadership stays in the fight. More Men-at-Arms here. Collapse down this way, rear charge the black spot. So Bretonnia is not out of this. They are scrapping hard to try and keep fighting here. But yeah, we've also got the Prometheans. They're, you know, still full health and have paid for themselves, so that's a big problem. Now the question is, how accurate is Noctilus shooting a flying unit? Well, looks like he is going to land there, at least momentarily. It looks like Noctilus just hits the ground next to him. But Lewin, together with all of his units here, is actually maybe going to prevail over the black spot and the animated Hulks. Nope, it looks like, wow, the Bretonnia Knights with Lionhearted died to a man there to these units. And all of a sudden, it's just Lewin and the Grail Relic. These undead units are crumbling, but of course, they're going to continue fighting while they're crumbling. And doing that little bit of armor piercing, a little bit of anti-large. And Lewin slowly getting ground down at this point. Now we'll fast forward as he faces his final fate. Now will be game for the Vampire Coast. Did I say counts? Probably said counts a couple times throughout the video. That's fine. Noctilus uses the last of his ammunition there to shoot one more Men-at-Arm. Wow, Lewin not going quietly into that good night. Grail Relic also comes in here and, like, basically finishes the black spot solo, which is kind of hilarious. Almost. Lewin manages to detach from the animated Hulks, gets in, and he's going to now have a kaiju battle with Noctilus. Nope, just kidding. He leaves. This might end up being closer than we expect. I mean, I kind of called it a little bit early there, but Grail Relic helping to support Lewin's leadership, giving him some more melee attack as well. Nope, it gets blasted by Noctilus. And yeah, and then it is going to turn into a final lore duel at the end. I say that. Of course, Prometheans are here, and that's going to swing things in Coast's favor. So yeah, Calamity able to take home the win there, and quite the build on his side. I love the pick of the mortars. Just massive pressure all across the battlefield. really forced Bretonnia into an unfavorable situation. Black Spot managed to get almost 2,000 damage value, hanging around there until the late game. Absolutely insane. Managed to avoid that early peasant trap. And, yeah, get out in front. Noctilus gets 2,000 damage value. Plus, on his Necrofex, he's quite expensive. I don't know technically if he even pays for himself, but nice to see the pick, at the very least. Rotting Promethean's Gunnery Mob also pays for themselves. Lewin, of course, is going to be a pretty big carry, but actually, pretty good value distributed out on some of these men-at-arms as well. Archers had a really hard time, and honestly, the biggest threat to, well, not the biggest threat, one of the big threats to Necrofeces, Necrophecees? Yeah, let's go with that. Necrophecees, in general, is that archers obviously give them a really bad time. So this build makes sense. You know, you have the mortars to cover the archers, then Noctilus can do his thing, the Necrofex. Yeah, Knights of the Realm, only one of them ends up paying for themselves. Cavalry can be a little bit tricky against the Vampire Coast, like traditional, and to be honest, any cavalry, but especially like the more expensive it is, trickier it can be to use against them. They have a lot of good anti-cavalry tools, but yeah, as far as a like build for Bretonnia goes, I do think here you could just straight up cut Lore of Life. I don't think Lore of Life really does anything for you here. I think you'd be much better served actually to take Lore of Beasts and spam Flock of Doom to try and get as much DPS on Vampire Coast blobs as possible. Take out some of those multi-model units, especially guns and so forth. Probably, I don't know. Maybe switch these, a couple of these men-at-arms for Battle Pilgrims. I really like Battle Pilgrims here because of their loose formation and shields and higher DPS. They can cut through zombies a little bit quicker. They are more expensive, of course, but you could retool some other elements of that build. Maybe take even some skirmish cavalry as well. But yeah, Bretonnia in an interesting place right now, but I would definitely say Lore of Beasts would be a good option, especially with a nice wide build. Lewin has his own self-healing, and there's not really anything else in that build that you need to heal. And you can take her with just, you know, Flock of Doom only, for basically no cost at all, 350 points. I mean, that's less than the cost of a single archer, and she can get upwards of, you know, 1,500 value, potentially if she's getting good Flock of Doom spams. You know, you could also take other stuff if you wanted to. Here, take some extra spell resistance or whatever. But honestly, minimum kit here, just Flock of Doom is probably enough to get whatever value you need out of her. And then the rest, yeah, like I said, I'd probably maybe cut a couple of the pole arms, maybe change out the cavalry selection. It's hard to say, because you do need something to be able to kill something of the quality of, like, the Necrofex, right? Or the Rotting Promethean Gunnery mobs. But maybe you just go instead, like, max archers. Maybe you take mounted yeoman archers. I don't know. You guys let me know down in the comments below. Maybe you go with a few wild field trebuchets. Something like this. I don't know that necessarily trying for a shootout against the Vampire Coast is the best thing to do, but and already I've spent most of my funds. See, so a little bit of an awkward one for sure. Or am I low on funds? Yeah, we've got weird funds levels. Anyway, go to default here. Yeah, that makes a lot more sense. Then we can come in here and grab Lewin. Right, might as well keep him relatively fully juiced. I might cut some of this stuff, but yeah, and then we still got the Grail Relics, mobs, and still got 2,000 points with left to spend. So we could come in here and potentially, you know, upgrade some things or try and get some, like, key, high-value mobile units. Maybe you take, like, one single Hippogriff and try and use them very judiciously. Or, like I said, maybe take some Missile Cavalry here. You can come in, upgrade these, upgrade some of these. I don't know. You guys will have to let me know your thoughts down in the comments below. Of your experience with this matchup, but hopefully you enjoyed. If you like this sort of content, be sure to like, subscribe, hit that bell notification. Every time I upload a new video, you'll be notified. Thanks again. We'll see you next time.